Hey, this is Hannah with Yachty and Company Dog Training, and I am here today to show you how I set up my nail trim sessions, some things that are working, some things that after review can be changed, and just kind of let you see some of the things that I'm thinking about as I'm doing the dog's nails, because it is not always a one size fits all answer. First, let's get some context and some history. I have two dogs to show you today. The first is Eugene, a 3.5-year-old Australian Shepherd, who has a really long history, a 3.5-year history of having his nails done regularly in pretty much the same way for a good chunk of that time, and who has not had any major negative experiences with his feet. He is a little bit ticklish, but other than that, no big feelings. The second dog is Wibble, who is a 2.5-year-old Boston Terrier, who also has a really steady history of nail maintenance. He is usually maintained using a Dremel, so it is filing his nails down versus the nail clipper, but it's still done incredibly regularly. And they both have a very specific routine that they follow, and that is something that is going to come into play in these videos. You'll get to see with Eugene less so than Wibble, because Wibble surprised me in this nail trim session. The only other piece of history I think that matters at this point is that Wibble and the cat are both loose while I'm working on Gene's nail trimming session, and that is because Gene is very neutral about the cat. The cat, for the most part, can mind his own business, and if he were to get in the way, it wouldn't be a safety issue for anybody. And also, Wibble is able to mind his own business when we need him to, so he sat and observed while I did the nail trim. If either of them were overtired or had any feelings about each other, they would have been put away while I focused on the nail trim. Same if I was trying to actively teach something, but because this was a general maintenance deal, everybody was still loose, and everybody behaved themselves. So let's take a peek at the session. The session is fairly long, so it was about 7 minutes to do both dogs' nails. So I do plan to fast forward and skip a couple of things. And if you have any questions, definitely let me know. Let's get started. First off, there we go. First off, the first thing you're going to see me do is set the context for what's going to happen. So I don't have a dedicated grooming space in my house. What I do have are some context clues. So if I need something very deliberate and specific, or if I'm training a very new skill, I have a yoga mat that I'll put down, and we're going to work on this mat. Because nail trims are so disconnected at this point, they're so well learned by the dogs, I have additional context that I can use. Also, currently my dogs don't stand for their nail trims. If they stood, I would pull out the mat for that. But because Gene wants to lay on his back, it's just my body position, and having the nail clippers out are enough of a context clue for him to settle into this next activity. Context is important for our dogs, especially if we're doing things like this in spaces where they also wrestle and play and eat and do all of these things. So just giving them the heads up that this is what we're going to be doing can be really helpful. So for Gene, it's going to be, there we go, it's going to be showing him the clippers, and you can see he checks those out there. He is greeting me just fine, and I get into the position where I always do his nails, which is sitting on the floor. Let him sniff the clippers again, pat my thigh. He stretches into his roll into assuming the position for the nail trim. You can see we're pretty chill. We have a nice little tongue hanging out the side of his mouth. It's a little hard to see with the lighting, but it is very cute. And paused it. And I'm able to start clipping his nails right away. We have a nice soft face. We have the tongue hanging out of the mouth. Body language overall is incredibly relaxed, and he's not fighting me with the foot. You will see, and if you watch Wibble up at the top, he notices a noise, and the puppy did startle them both, and you'll see that startled Gene shortly. While he was scratching, he banged into the bedroom door, making a big noise. And you can see the body language change, and this is kind of where we can talk about some environmental stuff that comes into play, where it's not always just about the feet and just about the nail trim. We were startled. He was willing to relax once he realized the puppy wasn't like storming out of the bedroom. Nothing was coming to get him. I calmed him down with the belly scratches because that is something he finds soothing, scratches along like the side of his ribs. He also finds comforting. And you can see, though, face is still soft, body's still overall soft, but he is a lot more tense than he was just a minute ago. And I will back up and show, assuming I can figure out. You can see leg position is a lot lower. Face was a lot more relaxed, tongue still hanging outside of the face. And so we see that even though we settled and relaxed and we're still able to do the thing, he is a lot more tense about it. And again, tense is relative versus where we started from. So when our dog is having a hard time with their nail trims or with their grooming procedures, it's not always about the nail trim itself. And this time he was startled by something else. Still able to go through the procedure, still able to kind of chill and not be super stressed by it, which is wonderful. But just something to keep in mind when our dogs have reactions or have like big feelings about, oh my God, you're touching my feet. You can see we're settling again. I'm giving him some time and then indicating to him where I'm going next. So first was the tap and then sliding my hand across his chest to grab the other foot. That is a super important part. So even though we have done this for pretty much his whole life, we do want to still tell him where I'm going next. Nail trims don't exist in the wild. There's no like similar behavior for them to go, oh yes, I'm going to give you one of each of my 4 feet and then you will trim them and then we will be done. Like there's nothing that they can really relate it to. Like dogs sit because that's one of the natural positions they have. They don't do nail trims on their own. So it's really like they have no concept of why the heck they're standing here and you're lifting up a foot. They don't understand that it's 1 of 4, 2 of 4, 3 of 4, 4 of 4 until they've done it enough. And even then, it still is kind to let them know, hey, this is where I'm going next, instead of startling and just grabbing at body parts. So letting him know where I'm going next, trimming those feet, and then still like just chilling with him, relaxing. I'm not in a rush. He's not in a rush. And then we slide down to the back feet, and he said he wasn't ready. He wanted some scritches there first. That's fine. Oh no, I have to scritch my dog's belly. So, and again, I picked a time. I'm not in a rush. This isn't like the most desperate thing. If he needed to tap out for whatever reason, we could. And then I do the nails. And again, this is a weird position. This is not my personal favorite position, but it is the one that he likes. So we just roll with it. You'll also see that generally through this whole video, he has not wanted to watch me do his nails. He kind of like turns his head away. He did watch the second front paw, but in general, he's kind of like looking elsewhere. He's like, if I don't watch it, I don't have to worry about it. And that's it. That is Gene's nail trim. I release him, tell him that he's all done, and then kind of see what he wants. And he wanted to sniff. He didn't want necessarily comfort from me. Didn't want any snack, like, he always wants snacks, but that was not like forefront of his mind. We're sniffing around for the nail clippings. We're just checking stuff out. We're going to go be weird about, sniffing other things. And then Wibble comes down. So I was not planning to cut Wibble's nails, and then Wibble volunteered. And he surprised me, and you can actually see some errors I made. And I don't know what happened to my video. Let's be right back. All right, there we go. So we can see that Wibble is very interested in everything that just took place. And again, with his learning history, his routine is that he is the second dog who gets his nails filed. And it goes, his brother has it done, his brother Flash has it done, and then Wibble has it done. And then they do a big food scatter. And that is the routine, that is the routine, that is the routine with Wibble and Flash's dad. I have not really done it like that before. I've not really done Wibble's nails. I've filed them like once or twice, when it was just Wibble in the house. That's about it. I haven't used nail clippers with him, although I believe he's used them before, but he's really mostly familiar with the Dremel. And then Wibble watched the whole process, and the context of, oh, we're doing a thing, kind of kicked in. And also he's a curious little guy. So he comes and decides that he also wants a nail trim. Decides he wants one and or goes, oh, this is the routine. I guess this is what we're doing. So he solicits some affection. Love that. Always, I mean, how can you say no? Checks out the clippers and then hops back over and pops onto his little back, which surprises me. And that's where I make my first mistake. Now, I don't know if you saw it, but he popped into the little position, and then I said, oh, okay, let's do this. And I immediately grabbed his foot and started to try and trim it. I did not give him the opportunity to really adjust or settle in. Is it a huge deal? No, like clearly he stuck around. We didn't get into a huge fight over it. And the stakes are low because he didn't really need a nail trim anyway. And also, for the future, I need to remember, give the little man a chance to get comfy, especially because I don't know him as well. I don't know how he likes to sit for this. If he likes to sit higher, if he wants to sit like lower on his back. I need to be cautious because of like the way he is shaped, to make sure that if I have him on his back, he's breathing well, things like that. I mean, most dogs anyway, but make sure he's breathing well, make sure he's comfortable, all of that good stuff. And you can see he pushes back on me because he's not comfortable. So we get a little bit of pushback. So I readjust, and then he slides over again. And this is where he ends up being comfortable. He also didn't want me to do the foot across him. So he extends the big left foot, slides over so he's laying on his right, and then right there, and then has me do that left foot first. So he has very clear preferences about how he wants to be handled and how he wants this procedure to go. And once I start trying to do the other foot, I get pushed back again with the little back feet. So I stop just because I'm curious. What's going on? Why don't we like this? You volunteered for this. You don't have to be here. So these are all the thoughts that are kind of going through my head, trying to figure out, did you not actually want the nails done? Did you just want belly rubs? Like, why are we here? What's going on? And he very clearly was volunteering for the nail trim. Like we indicated with the nail clippers. He knew what was going on. So here I pushed through when I should have stopped. You can see I'm still getting a lot of pushback. And then he repositions. And he's fine in the new position. He wants the side that he's working on to be the side that he shifts to. So it's a comfort thing for him. He also seems to like to watch. He wants to supervise the nail trim, which is fair. But then we do some more scritches. I don't do his back feet because he doesn't need them, and also because I could not quite, at the time of filming, figure out why I was getting the pushback. I didn't know why he volunteered for the nail trim and then was fighting me on them. With the hindsight of the video, we can see that it was positioning. He wasn't comfortable. So then we played a little bit of tuggies to help kind of de-stress from that, because even though it was a nice little connective moment, he still was like, definitely had to tell me no a couple of times, which he can stress about a little bit. So we played some tuggies, we sniffed the nail clippers, and then I remembered that his routine is to have a big food scatter at the end of his nail procedure. So I went and threw a big food scatter at the end to try and keep some continuity there. But that is the insight into the nail trim video of Eugene and Wibble. This is loosely how my sessions with Gene typically go. I have done, oh no, well, you got to see the side of my face. I have done some where where he is standing, because I want to see and like give him the skill of being able to stand and be handled and things like that. But if we're just working on general maintenance, he just hangs out on his back and we do the toes that way. But yeah, so that is it for Gene and Wibby. If you have any questions, I would love to hear them, and I plan to do this a couple more times. There's a lot of things going through my head during a nail trim, so hopefully this helps kind of clear up some of what all the thoughts that are happening are. And I'm planning to do a session with Hamish soon. So, and Hamish does not like his toes being done, so we can kind of talk about that too. All right, guys, until next time, this has been lovely. Let me know if you have questions, and we will talk to you soon. Thank you.